Well, hello everybody. Krishna Vedula here, and once again we have an outstanding speaker, very distinguished speaker for today's IFES GDC IUC Global Webinar. And of course, the talk is extremely tantalizing, very appropriate. Science of Healthy Life and Healthy Planet. Wow. Okay. So Sriram Ramakrishna is actually a very, very good friend of mine, goes way back many years. And I was actually looking at his bio and said, okay, Professor Sriram Ramakrishna. And I said, after his name, it is Everest Chair. And I, just a few minutes ago, I asked him, what does that mean? That means that he is helping build a university in Nepal. Wow. Congratulations to him. Professor Ramakrishna is among the 5 leading researchers of Singapore, among the top 3 impactful authors at the National University of Singapore, NUS. NUS is ranked among the top 10 best global universities for engineering in the world. The highest professional distinctions for Ramakrishna include an elected fellow of the UK Royal Academy of Engineering, Singapore Academy of Engineering, Indian National Academy of Engineering, and ASEAN Academy of Engineering and Technology. He's got everything that from all over the world. He's also elected fellow of AAAS, ASM International, ASME, AIMBE, IMEC-E, IOM3, UK, IST, India, and FPSC. So without much more ado, I will let him take over the show and start his presentation. Welcome.
Thank you, Krishna, for your kind introduction. I'm delighted to see all my friends for several decades. I'd like to express my thanks to all the attendees of this webinar. We hope to conduct this webinar in 3 phases. Initial 25 minutes, I will speak to you about the science of healthy life and healthy planet, my own personal views, as well as my own learning from the science. In phase 2, we will conduct a very small poll survey. We invite all of you to participate. After that, we will have an extensive Q&A session with all the audience. And I hope this is the format. It is suitable to you. Now, as you can see, healthy life is central to all the human beings. That's what they desire. And a healthy life is multifaceted. One important aspect for a healthy life, I believe, is the mind. So I will spend more time what the science understood about mind and what we can do in terms of using this advanced scientific knowledge and lead to a healthy life. Healthy planet is also very big topic. It is multidimensional. Health of a planet also depends on what goes on in the solar system and cosmos. That is a topic requires many lectures, but I like to focus on a healthy planet related to human actions, especially what we call sustainability and circular economy. I want to begin by saying what I learned from my own life living for the past 55 years on the planet Earth. It is clear to me that human activities are disrupting Earth's several systems. In the past, only elite had the opportunity to learn and think. But now, fortunately, most people can learn and think if they wish to do so. Third point or third observation from my own life is mental health is central to healthy life, while we all believe physical health is necessary. The last observation is we need to care for the earth's health to ensure healthy living of human beings. Now, allow me to dive into the middle 2 points. They are related to the mental health and mind. Why is this important? Compared to 50 years ago, now most people are moving into mentally demanding jobs compared to physically demanding jobs of the previous centuries. And to give this a spin, here is an example. This is a 32-year-old young man just bought a digital painting worth $70 million. So this underscores that the world is changing and the new generation is thinking differently. And this is an example. You won't be able to read it, but I will make all my slides available through Professor Krishna Vedula, so you can go through these slides at your own pace. The main point here is the millennials have a different thinking compared to Generation Z. Some of these Generation Z young people in the age of 12 to 15 or 20 years old, they are beginning to think differently. For example, they say, to secure a financial future, we don't need a 9-to-5 job. In addition to that, the last 30 years, millennials, Generation Z, as well as all of us, also moved into what we call surface reading, as opposed to deep reading, as well as thinking and reflecting. This is a change brought upon us by internet, as well as fantastic digital technologies. Now, why I explain that is there is also another aspect that is also being felt by many people. It's called imposter syndrome. These people are educated, professionals, capable, but at the same time, they have a dose of self-doubt. We call that cognitive error. So because of this, as well as many other factors, we do have a sense of despair, anxiety, and mental health issues in 1 out of 5 people. And this is more so among the university-going population as well as academic leaders. Japan recognized this, recently appointed a minister for loneliness. 2 years ago, United Kingdom also appointed a minister for loneliness. So the point here is loneliness is associated with our mind, and mind is very important in leading a healthy life. We often think a physical appearance gives us a window of our intelligence and mindset. It's far from that. Here is an example of a boy, a look-alike, right, as Jack Ma, one of the most successful Chinese entrepreneur. But in reality, even though they have a similar physical look, they're vastly different. What does that mean? That means the mind beneath the skin is very different. So that brings us to a somewhat lighter conversation. People are talking about, are you concerned about increase in artificial intelligence? Someone says, no, I am concerned about the decrease in real intelligence. It is a joke. But the most important thing is what we call intelligence does change with age. And here is the change of general intelligence with age. We can call it as a fluid intelligence. The other one is crystallized intelligence. Fortunately, those in the universities, they're on the right period of their age where they can exercise maximum intelligence, and perhaps they can learn more things, and they can also understand and come up with new innovations. Moving forward, other age groups, there is something called crystallized intelligence, what we call experience. To reduce all that knowledge, I drew this particular simplified view graph, what I call intellectual efficiency and a chronological age. Clearly, between 25 to 45, we have a highest level of intellectual efficiency. After that, or before that, the hormonal system and many other systems in our body are less than optimal, and these changes in our biochemistry has an influence on the intellectual processes of our mind. Now, to make this point loud and clear, I put myself as an example. Here in the image, left half of the image, that's how I look like. And if you use a computer generated scenario, how I would look like, say, next 10, 20, 30 years away, you could see my face has a lot more wrinkles, different skin tone. That's what we normally think aging. But beneath the skin, there are lots of tissues and organs, and at a different time points of our age, there is a systematic change in all of them. At the right-hand corner, you see a lot more things related to mind and brain. And that's why I said for a healthy living, even for youngsters as well as middle-aged or the senior people, it's very important that we have a deeper understanding of mind and how we can use our understanding to have a healthy life. So I would like to emphasize this aging is a function of gender. So I have two colored dots. One is pink, another is blue, deep blue color. So obviously it depends on the gender. This also depends on genetics and our lifestyle as well as the climatic conditions. So now to give the central point, how we can use our mind to lead a healthy life, there are some basic information we all need to know. Roughly, all of us have about 600 thoughts per day and about 4 thoughts per minute. And 95% of them are repetitive, and 80% of them has somewhat negative content. Now, if you look at the right side, I have a brain neural network mapping, very simplified one, an unstressed brain and a stressed brain. And you notice in an unstressed scenario, mind is able to control thoughts and emotions and actions much more balanced way. When we have a stressful mind, our ability to control thoughts and emotions and actions is somewhat compromised. So the message here is, if we can keep our mind much more unstressed, we have a better control on our thinking, also our actions, then thereby leading us to a healthy, happy life. Research suggests that 40% of what affects our actual levels of happiness is how you choose to do and how you choose to think and how you choose to feel. So in other words, we have the certain ability and control in terms of how our mind is perceiving. Now, this is my own analysis as well as a synthesis of the knowledge that's there in the scientific literature. All our minds have thoughts, actions, and emotions. Now, these thoughts, actions, and emotions are influenced by a number of variables in these bubbles. As I said, genetics and age and biochemistry, physical health, lifestyle, diet, our memories, experiences, our imaginations, even most important, the language and the culture we use has an influence on the way we think and how we shape our thoughts. So in addition to sensory inputs, there are many other aspects that is constantly influencing our thoughts. The most important thing is using your own thinking and intentionality, you can modulate your thoughts. So please look at on the left side, I have written, mind your mind. humans will have access to refined devices and systems and methods to perceive and visualize own thoughts and redesign own mind and build psychological resilience with intentionality. This is how I see the next 30 to 40 years. The frontier of mind will be unraveled. Right below that, connecting to my title, instead of overly seeking elusive happiness, one may focus on satisfaction, achievements, contribution, growth mindset, interest, enjoyment, and always open to new experiences, thus leading to a sense of well-being and happiness. That's probably the best way to use our own mind to feel happy. Now I'm going to go through, since I'm a scientist and I like to give a sense of what's going on in science towards the mind, here it is. Why I said redesign our own mind is possible. There is a lot of advances are happening in artificial intelligence, neural interfaces, quantum chips, quantum biology, psychedelics, wearables, and augmented brain. For example, in our laboratories, we can coax brain cells and make mini brains. This is already possible. Similarly, we are learning from the nature. This is a sea slug. When sea slug feels its own body is somewhat infected or damaged, it severs the head from the remaining body. And the sea slug from the remaining head creates its own body again. In other words, the mind, the brain, and neural systems of the sea slug able to redesign the whole body so that it can feel much more healthy. Now, I take further, there's a lot more information here. It's possible now we could use our mental processes through the mobile phones and send communications to the plants near to us. So it is also possible now to visualize our mental thoughts via electromagnetic wave recording and visualizing them as what is going on in our mind. That includes our dreams as well. So there's a lot more research is happening in terms of a number of invasive neural interface technologies. Some we are working on it, and they are pointing us in this direction. To convince you, and especially I know many of the audience are from the US, you all know Elon Musk. He has invested in a number of interesting programs like electric cars, space programs. But in addition, he also invested in a company called Neuralink. The emphasis of this Neuralink company is to come up with the neural interfaces, tap the neural signals, and then come up with the ways to treat problems like Alzheimer's, dementia, as well as depression. So on the right side, I have a picture of a 70-year-old woman, how her brain looked like. And we know that there's a lot of physical changes happen with age. But with these neural interfaces, we can begin to understand our minds and then perhaps find a way to treat some of these problems I showed, which are associated with aging as well as loneliness because of the new way of living. Now I go to another example, wearables, where this is our own research, where we design a very small ring-like devices which can measure a number of vital functions of our body. Such devices are extremely useful when situations like COVID-19, where you need to monitor people far away from the hospitals and give them the right advice. Again, I want to give an example. Fitbit is one such company that is pioneered in wearable devices. Google recently bought this company with $2+ billion. So if you think of it, all these top technology companies now believe that human health is very important, and brain and mind is a one way to provide a better health care and a healthy living for human beings. So there's a lot more information there, and I personally believe this is the direction it is going. So to bring you back to the title, which is how do we make use of our own mind and to have a healthy life, I like to say, understand the origins and effects of thoughts and emotions on your thinking and actions. There are lots of variables, but you can employ your own thinking as a tool to process negative thoughts and emotions and quickly diffuse them. Practice to verbalize your thoughts via deep conversations and expressing them out. Employ thinking with intentionality as your tool to master thoughts so as to make purposeful actions to achieve, to contribute, and be happy. So this is an example how some of the scientists in Singapore think. Now I'm going to move to the second major topic of my lecture, which is a healthy planet Earth. As I said, human actions are disrupting, and we need to care for Earth, perhaps for healthy Earth, eventually leading to the healthy living conditions for human beings. So here is a study that was published recently in Nature magazine or a journal. It is estimated in year 2020, all the human-made materials and products in terms of the weight, they exceed all the biological systems that are there on planet Earth. So in other words, human activities are excessively depleting the resources, causing pollution and extreme weathers, in return affecting human health and survival. Again, I know in US, you may have a slightly different view about wearing masks, but in Asia and rest of the world, the total consumption of face masks has grown exponentially. Right now, more than few billion masks are used every day. And most of these masks are not recyclable, and they are actually discarded, causing a worldwide pollution. And of course, in addition to that, we have emissions from various sectors, including transportation, energy, other aspects. Now, why do I want to connect that with COVID-19? Here is the COVID-19 mitigation methods that have been employed by different countries and people. These are in addition to the vaccine. So if you notice, the basic ways of mitigating COVID-19 is wearing face masks, social distancing. But if you look at on the right side, nature does also a very important job. I give an illustration using this particular example. In our studies, we found plants naturally emit ions, and these ions scrub the pollutants from the air. So if you are living in a highly vegetative places, there's plenty of forests, you have a much better chance that you get access to better quality air. And I want to show this video, beautiful video from BBC. Bear with me, and hopefully you can. Okay, the main message I like to say from that particular video is human health is intricately intertwined with the health of planet Earth and all those biosphere that is there on planet Earth. And in this case, scientists say phytoncides have an influence on the human immune function. So COVID-19, as well as all other diseases, there is a role that one need to understand about the nature on our health. So now I'm going to go deep into what's happening with respect to sustainability. According to London School of Economics, if we do not do anything, we might have a more than $2.5 trillion effect on the world's financial assets due to influences of climate change as well as unhealthy practices by human beings. And of course, higher estimate is about $24 trillion in terms of the effect on the world's financial assets. Knowing all this, I think about a few years ago in Paris, several countries signed a United Nations framework, and several countries now pledge carbon neutrality by 2050 or 2060. And World Bank estimates if we transition to a low carbon and sustainable economies, it could create 65 million new jobs worldwide 2030. And India is also now thinking about similar carbon neutral targets by 2050. And there are other countries are being asked to go in that direction. Big companies, for example, Apple has announced would like to be carbon neutral by 2030. The question is, what is the science behind these carbon neutral pledges? Apple uses a number of complex materials in its devices. Most of them are not carbon neutral. If Apple says it wants to be carbon neutral by 2030, you can imagine a lot more new science that will go into creating this product much more sustainable and carbon neutral. It's not only Apple, all the major corporations around the world announce plans for carbon neutrality. So here is an example of Bill Gates talking about synthetic meat, especially it's an evidence that if we have a meat that is produced in the laboratories, it would have a lower carbon footprint than the meat that is harvested from the animals. And there's lots of things are happening in the corporations. And even in Singapore, we have a plan called Singapore Green Plan 2030. I'm deeply involved in Singapore's discussions on sustainability. And this is an explanation where we think we put sustainable thinking, sustainable designing products based on advanced scientific knowledge is on par with the new technologies, new way of investing in advanced technology-based products. This is the books I have written in this area. An Introduction to Circular Economy is a new book just been published. You are welcome to read that 630 pages book. And I also talk about, as an engineer, how we can engineer a healthy planet. I'm proud to say that I've been associated with IFES and GEDC for since their beginnings. And I'm glad to see both the organization flourish with the several leaderships along the way, as well as all the founding members continue to support engineering progress. And I'm sure the worldwide engineers would think about sustainability and implementing sustainable solutions so we have a better earth. To give this message very clear and connecting to the science, I like to say this. Since the Industrial Revolution, the science and technology enabled mass production and supply of exceptional range of goods and services reached billions of people around the world and improved their living standards. But moving forward, all products and services need to be reimagined for the health of the planet and its systems and beings. This calls for new science and technology of atoms and molecules, redesigning products in a new way, and reconfiguring our economic models. So I give an example. You can now think of building solar farms in much more differently. This requires advanced science and new materials. As a lot of research has happened, and many of these technologies are now being demonstrated in Singapore as well as many countries around the world. This is an example of science enabling energy transition, which is enabling a lower carbon footprint, which is enabling a healthy planet, in turn leading to healthy human living. Not only that, hydrogen economy is also going to be revamped completely in the next 10 to 20 or 30 years. And China has pledged substantially in this direction. So what we think is there would be a fundamental progress both in US, Europe, China, as well as India and other countries. New technology will be embraced. They would be carbon neutral, thereby leading to a healthy planet. These are examples of our students winning a United Nations Green Context. As a material scientist, I wanted to show that there is a lot of research happening where we rethink how polymers are made from the basics, from the atoms and molecules. Now there is a new ideas are out there where you can make polymers like a Lego toys, and you build them into larger polymers, use them. After that, you can recycle them by simply disassembling them. There is also new traceability technologies. That means a water marking of plastic, so that they help you in segregation, separation, recycling, and upcycling. Again, these are built on advanced science. So I want to basically say that science is playing a very important role in sustainability. Here is the publications that's happening in different countries, and USA is certainly leading. And also there's a lot of work happening in terms of sustainability education. I just checked that in the United States and Canada, more than 700 universities now have a sustainability related modules and courses offered to a large number of their students. In other words, the future engineers, scientists, as well as other professionals will have a better understanding of sustainability principles, thereby leading to a healthy planet. Well, I think I like to bring my presentation to an end. I like to bring a simple joke. Well, sometimes sustainability is very simple. It dries the washing using the very latest technology, a combination of solar and wind. It's a joke. Well, yeah, on concluding it, I like to say a healthy planet. There's lots of points there. I like to emphasize there is a tremendous scope and opportunities for new science at the levels of atoms and molecules that lead to new materials, new products, and new services and economic models, which we never thought before. Similarly, when it comes to the healthy life, I mean by mind, science of mind and inspired technologies are the new frontiers of innovations, and they will change human living as seen and experienced never before. And you want to be happy and healthy, mind your mind to achieve, contribute, healthy and happy. Those who want a real customized answer, instead of overly thinking about elusive happiness, you may focus on satisfaction, achievements, contributions, perhaps growth mindset, certain interests, certain joys, and open to new experiences. I'm very sure you will be more happier than before. With that, I like to the last slide. I just want to say that science is necessary for a healthy life and a healthy planet. And a health gap of life and earth are real, and we need to step up. Thank you so much for your attention.
I like the jogging Ganesh in the end.
Thank you.
Wonderful talk, Sriram. This is beautiful. I just love everything that you talked about, and I know you've given me a bunch of poll questions that you want to get in order to get the folks a little bit activated. You want me to run those polls one by one right now?
Yes, please. Else, please.
Why don't we do that? Okay, we have a bunch of polls. Okay, so everybody in the audience, please respond. I think those who are in the panelists group may not be able to respond to the poll directly, but you can just do a texting, okay? So we are going to launch them one by one, give about 30 seconds for people to respond. So be active with your fingers, right? This is the first one. Which is the most important for a healthy life? Please select one. Money, education, healthy body, healthy mind, family, and friends. Okay, they're coming in, getting the responses. Okay, and Sriram will take notes and maybe comment on at the end or whenever he wants to comment on them. We got a bunch of responses already. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to give you another few seconds and we are going to see. Okay, I'm going to close the poll right now and we're going to see the results. Okay, so you're going to share. Okay, I don't know whether Sriram you can see it, but I'll read it out to you.
I
It's
cannot see it. Could you tell me how to see them?
yeah.
I'm trying
I'm
to
not
figure
okay.
out.
I'll tell you what. I'll make you an organizer. That way, you will be able to see it. I'll just give me a second. I'll
Okay,
make you an
because
organizer.
I cannot see anything at this
No, no,
point.
yeah, I'm making an organizer. Maybe now you can see it as an organizer. You can see it. Which is the most important for a healthy life? First, number one is 67% a healthy mind, 19% a healthy body.
How would I see that? Sorry, I
It
still.
should be on the screen, but I don't know. You know, sometimes the technology doesn't quite. But anyway, I'm reading
Okay.
it out, so you might want
Sure,
to just.
sure.
You can look under the polls. There's a little list under the right in the panel under polls, and that
Oh,
look,
yes.
you'll see.
Okay,
You'll see
polls and show the on. Yeah.
expand that. You'll see 0% money, 0% education, 19%. You see that?
I'll show poll results, but I don't see it. So could somebody tell me how to do that?
Uh,
Hmm.
well,
But actually, I don't see you also, Krishna. That
okay.
is there something I need to click?
No, that's okay. You can see me now if you want, but I think but
Oh
as
yeah.
an organizer,
Okay,
you should
okay, okay. I got it now. I could see the poll
results.
results. Yes,
Ah,
yes,
wonderful,
I could.
wonderful. There you go. Okay, so
Yes,
now we'll go to
I
the next
got that.
poll. Okay, let's go there.
Yes,
I'm going to hide.
please.
We're going to hide this results now, and we're going to the next poll.
I really want to say the audience are fantastic. They got the right answer.
So the next poll says, via responsible actions, can humans safeguard the health of the earth? Yeah, so let's go do it. Okay, somewhat, yes, no, it is beyond humans. Okay, everybody's saying it's beyond humans, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, keep coming. You have a few more seconds, guys. Somebody is actually saying it's beyond humans. So, okay, so I'm going to close, and you can see the same thing in the bottom there. So 24% say somewhat, 72% say yes, and 4% say beyond humans. Okay.
That's again very nice. They
Yeah,
actually believe
got
that science plays a
you
very
have done your
important role.
job of convincing this group about what you said. Good job. Okay, so then we have to go to the next one. We'll hide this and go to the next and see. Quickly do that. We're going to launch this next poll, and it says, "Is science able to adequately explain human mind?" Aha, that's a trick question, right?
I really want to know what they think.
Yeah, it's a trick question. I think it's a trick question, right? I don't know. 29, okay, so it's coming up, and then yeah, half of them, 65% have voted, so we'll wait for a few more seconds, and there we go, a few more seconds, and then we'll close and share. So here when you share, you're going to see that 22% says clearly, 17% vaguely, 48% said partially, and 13% said no, science will not
Wow.
explain.
Okay.
Okay, so there you go. Let's hide that. It's interesting. The different opportunities for different kinds of opinions. So we're going to launch the next poll. There are 10 of them, by the way. So be patient. Is science able to discover the secret to life? Okay, please select one. Okay, science able to discover the secret to life. Science. Okay, that's a key word there. Science able to discover the secret to life.
Very
And,
interesting. Large number think no. That's good.
don't give away the secret. Well, that number's coming down. See, look at that. I think initial ones are the ones said no.
It's slowly coming down. That's right.
Balancing
So
out.
they're moving towards partially. Yes, that's a little bit
Not
moving.
sure in a way, but I think at least the clear. I mean, the clearly is not very popular. So I'm going to close this and
Clearly, it's not popular. That's right.
that yeah, that's probably reasonable to do that. When we share, we'll see that maximum says no, and then partially, and
It's really good. That means the audience really understand
yeah, the limitations of
exactly what
science.
is life, and they're able to define that
Yeah,
science totally unable to explain yet. Okay.
the limitations. Maybe eventually one of these days it might. Who knows? So the next one is here. Is science able to explain intelligence? I think
That's right. Let's
that's
see.
a good question. Let's go for it, guys. Okay, science able to explain intelligence. That's interesting. The evolving answers as the people who are
Yes, the answers are really evolving.
thoughtful, people who are immediate and instinctive, they will respond right away. Impulsive, and those are more thoughtful, respond later on. So you see the numbers changing in certain direction. Okay, so you have half the people have voted. Get some more, and take a few more seconds. We're going to close. Okay, we're going to share.
It's a 48% partially. Yeah,
So it
that's
said
very good.
science able to explain, partially is the most, and then clearly is there, and vaguely, and something says
Vaguely
no.
in between. Yeah, that's very nice.
We're going to hide
I
that. So
think these
this is
are
fun. This is
fantastic
fun.
audience. Really
Yeah,
good.
this is
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, that's fun. So we're going to launch the next poll, and this one says, "Can science predict the future of Earth?" Haha. Another trick question. Can science predict the future of Earth? Okay. Clearly, vaguely, partially, no. Okay, it's
They
coming
are
up.
moving. The numbers are moving. That's good.
Yeah, again, it's obviously it's a bit of this and a bit of that kind of thing. So we'll wait for another.
Yes.
So, but quite a few. I'm impressed with
I
about
guess
one.
they're all using a different boundary conditions. That's why they have a different answers. That's good.
That may be, and it's it's some of them quite a few. I'm impressed. Quite a few think clearly it can. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
It's a
some
good
part
distribution there. Yeah.
combination of
Yeah.
clearly and partially is quite a bit actually. It's not the vaguely
Mm.
has not that popular. So this group believes in science. Okay, so we're gonna hide that. And of course, we expected because IFG gang, so engineering bias here. So launch, will science be able to develop intelligent materials? Aha, this is getting closer to home for you, right?
That's right.
Will science be able to develop intelligent materials? So it's moving in, coming in. So this is a little more,
Okay.
easier to answer this one, I think, right? It's a little easier, and it's I think it's we're all engineers here, and we have
So
look at
most
the
of them
possibility.
said yes. That's
Yeah,
right.
look at the possibilities, and people say, science can do that. We can build materials that are intelligent, that can do what we want them to do, and already we have some intelligent materials which best. Okay, so we'll close this and move on, and get ready for your questions, guys. As soon as the quiz is done, 3 more questions here, and so the answer here is. Yeah, what somewhat yes. So this is good. This one more definitive answer to this one, that we can develop intelligent materials, hide, and then launch the 8th poll. Do you think stress-free life is possible? Aha! And we all be happy and have forever after, right?
That's right. We all need to
Happily
find
ever
the
after.
secret.
Particularly after you retire and live happily ever after. There you go. The question is yes after retirement. Okay, but no one is clicking that one. Right, I think
Exactly. Yeah.
nobody. Now one person got into the act there. Okay, so we're gonna.
Maybe nobody wants to retire.
All right, so we're gonna close that and show the results, and you're gonna
That's
share.
interesting. Yes, anytime is 52%. Amazing.
Yeah, 52% said yes, anytime.
That's
Uh,
very good. Very good.
Yeah, 30% said no, so let's do it. Okay, a couple more questions, guys, and then we'll take a few of your comments. And scientists, okay, let's launch this one. Scientists consider mind as as an emergence of functioning brain. What is
Functioning
your
brain. Yeah.
opinion. Yeah, emergent of function. So if we more, mind is more than functioning brain, and I'm unclear about it. Unclear about it. Maybe the question. Yeah. So science is mind. So mind, as scientists, the mind is an emergent of the functioning brain. So I'm unclear about it. A few people. So, but majority are saying mind is more than the functioning brain, which probably, who knows? Maybe that's
Wow,
what it is.
mind is more than the functioning brain. Okay, okay.
And maybe maybe they, at some point it might change, right? As you get to know more about the mind, the brain. So
Exactly. Yeah.
64% said mind is more than the functional brain, but maybe science will, teach us more about the mind, and that opinion
Right.
might change. Final question. Okay, the last question
See.
here is transitioning from the point of consumption and use thinking to life cycle thinking of products and services is feasible by the consumer. So look at the question carefully. Transitioning from the point of, I think this was too long, so Sridhar had to cut the words a little bit. Point of
Oh, okay.
consumption. So it's possible, it's feasible by the consumer, and it's getting there. I see you got a good group here. It's almost unanimous.
So I
Almost
think
unanimous.
maybe what I'm saying is the life cycle
Now,
thinking versus the point of consumption thinking. Yeah.
right, so I'm going to close and share. So here, you got almost a very large agreement that it's yes, as they care for sustainability, and then a little bit of everything else. So fantastic, good job, Sriram, for provoking our thought. I'm going to hide this and then hide this and then see what questions and comments people have here.
Yeah.
Alfredo has given me a comment in Spanish, and I guess he's just saying, "Good day from Universidad of Guajira." So buenos dias, Alfredo. Thank you. Then Juan Nicolaides is saying, "Is it possible humanity in the future will depend exclusively clean energy such as hydrogen for fuel?" Want to respond to that, Sriram? Is it possible
Yes,
humanity will depend
definitely. Yes. First, I'd
fuel?
like to say all the audience for participating in the poll. Your replies are very interesting, and also I would say they're very fantastic replies. I must say that it underscores that all of you are quite deeply aware of what's going on in your own mind, as well as what's happening to the planet Earth. I'm very happy that you are my audience and I have this opportunity to engage you. Now, coming to the specific question, my belief is hydrogen ought to be in the part of the energy equation. The reason being the byproduct of hydrogen is much more environmentally friendly compared to the other energy systems. There are some issues with respect to the hydrogen. Right now, the hydrogen can be made using a fossil fuel feedstock. Hopefully, we can move away from that, produce what we call green hydrogen, and then later on dealing with the safety of using hydrogen. If that can be addressed much more acceptable way, and if all the standards are developed, I'm very sure hydrogen will become the new energy source for a lot of energy requirements of the countries as well as the people. So we're
Okay,
already
great.
beginning to see that in the large transportation systems, and I think it will happen.
Good question from Krishna Narayanan. Can you comment more about introducing sustainability in the college curriculum?
Yes, Krishnan, thank you. What I have done is, since I'm also involved in sustainability at our National University of Singapore, I looked at what's each universities are doing around the world. If you look at Times Higher Education came up with impact rankings, only about 600 or 700 universities have some level of sustainability in their planning. And there is also another stars rating by a US organization, again about 700 universities, mostly from USA and Canada, and a few from other countries. So your question is, how do we introduce sustainability? Sustainability is a very broad term. And when university is highly multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, or comprehensive university, certain departments like medicine, law, maybe medicine, much more difficult, or dentistry, whereas a business school, engineering school, arts and social sciences, school of design, it's very natural for them to start thinking about sustainability. So there are few ways we can go about in dealing in our curriculum. Curriculums are much more contested by faculty members in any university. One way to go about is we can come up with at least one module which all students can take, and that is possible. So introducing one module is one simple way. But at the same time, every module or every course that is being taught, there could be a policy signal saying every lecturer can think about analyzing his own subject from the point of sustainability. In this way, students will understand sustainable aspects. So on top
Great.
of that, there is opportunity for full-scale undergraduate and graduate programs. But more important is in industry, small and medium enterprises, big corporations. The current leaders of these organizations, they're not exposed to sustainability thinking because they got their degrees many years ago. So here is an opportunity for the universities to mount professional programs, or what we call short courses, or what we call gig courses. They can be, or what we call micro-credit based courses. I think this would be the way universities can slowly introduce and then make the change, not only for the current ongoing students, as well as the former students and alumni in the real world.
Great. Okay, good. Thanks for those comments. Is one of my friends, Anil Kumar Pandit, is a bit of a comedian. Light,
Okay.
light side of things. He says, "Thanks, Sriram, for 40 minutes of shared scientific happiness using the lightest gas, hydrogen, too." Okay. Okay. Thanks, Anil. I'm going to move on to next question here from Ram Dayal. What's your opinion about the future of recyclable plastics?
Yes. Ramdal, right now, if you look at the plastics, we only recycle about 6% on a worldwide basis. There is tremendous scope for improving these recycling rates to 30%, probably up to 50% in the next 10 to 20 years. Now, if you look at the plastic waste, there are 6 major plastics, and plastics like PET, already there are organizations and technologies are in place, and industries are able to do the recycling of plastics and upcycling. But what are the issues? One of the major issues is traceability and sorting. And if one can start looking at watermarking of plastics, and there is a way to separate them, I think that you would see much higher plastic recycling. In addition, there is something called extended producer responsibility. This is a policy initiative by the governments. If the countries with the EPR, extended producer responsibility, EPR policy, you would see a spike in recycling rates of the plastics. And so it can be mandated by the governments to all the packaging organizations as well as the plastic producers, and they can begin to embrace recycling and upcycling technologies. Right now, most popular is mechanical recycling, but moving forward, chemical recycling would also pick up. Yes. But it's a
Okay.
good area to be in because there's a lot of new things are happening.
Okay, Juan Nicolaitis thanks you for responding to his question, and he sends his regards from the Peninsula Paraguana, Falcon State, Venezuela. Keep up the good work. Okay, so then we have take another quick question, and then we'll hand it over to Hans. This is about what do you think would be the energy mix worldwide in 2050?
2050. So 2050, the energy mix, there would be a lot more downward pressure on coal and natural gas. I would think there would be much more increase in a renewable energy, for example, solar and wind, as well as hydrogen-based energy. So I think that's where the big investments are going now. what they call green financing. So I believe the push is in that direction. And that's, people might question, because of COVID-19, most economies are battered. Would they make these tough decisions? Answer is because I'm in Singapore, we are making such decisions now. So I believe from our numbers and facts, I think that's the direction we're going to go. So by 2050, I think we would have a much more higher proportion of renewable energy in the energy mix.
Okay, a couple of questions from Ignace. I don't want to ignore him here. Ignace, we're
Hi,
poised.
Ignace.
It
Yes.
says recycled plastics. I agree that more should be recycled. Sorting is done in Belgium and Europe based on infrared identification, and this works on a large scale. Do you think this can be applied worldwide?
My answer is Ignace. Thank you so much. And yes, I think it is applicable worldwide. The reason I say that is the plastics consumption in, if you go by the countries, some of the major growing countries would be Japan, Korea, China, and a few other countries in Asia. And they are already have the resources now targeted towards recycling, because it is mandated by what we call packaging agreements and extended producer responsibility agreements. There's also new Basel Convention, which restricts shifting the solid waste across the national boundaries. So in other words, there is an impetus to absorb these traceability technologies, especially the one you talked about, NIR. I think so. I certainly think that is the direction. In Singapore, we just established a Plastic Recycling Association of Singapore. I'm the founding member. It's a partnership between Germany and Singapore, but we are actually now looking at Belgium as well as Austria, how we can bring those technologies and actually have a large-scale industrial plants in Singapore, and later on migrate towards ASEAN. That's what we are doing.
Great. Before we hand it over to Hans, I must read out Ramiro, my good friend Ramiro.
Yes.
President,
Hi, Ramiro.
made a comment. Thank you, Sriram. Brilliant presentation. Science versus fake news is key for the future of the planet. Need convergence of science, tech, engineering, culture, arts, humanities, social sciences. Tear down the silos. New content has to be sprinkled across the curriculum. Micro credentials, peace engineering is well aligned with your thoughts. And let's see. Dun, 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 dun. And yes, and all the rest, all the best to all, and stay safe. That's Ramiro. Okay, Hans, over to you.
Thank you, Ramiro. You are doing a fantastic job with peace engineering. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you, Krishna. Krishna, did you see Xavier's very thoughtful question?
Oh, okay. Let's. Yeah.
Oh,
The chat box. I'll let him speak for himself. Xavier, come in, Xavier. You can unmute yourself.
If he's still there,
you make it more difficult by having me repeat. The first thoughtful, as expected, Sriram. A lot of activity in my brain, my little gray cells, as Hercule Poirot is saying. You surfaced one aspect among the consequences on engineering education, that is the need to reconcile the classical macro universe of cities and machines in which engineers are developed with the micro atoms and molecules, you say. Is that not creating a real new challenge in the extension of the field in which the disciplinary field we just are digesting in institutions, educational institutions, the need to connect engineering with social aspects, for instance, and now you are telling it has also to be connected with more scientific micro level sciences. I do agree violently with that, but any idea on how to reform again or continuously engineering education to that end?
Thank you, Xavier. Absolutely. I believe that they are interrelated. the latest cutting edge advances that are happening at nano, sub-nano levels, for example, quantum knowledge, has a huge importance on revitalizing or reinventing these materials with better properties. Now, after that, we are talking about actually systems, which are large-scale systems, macro to large-scale systems. They need to look at if we change at the micro level or nano level, and how would that impact at the macro scale level? I think they should be able to connect those things. And my belief is, when I talk to my younger faculty members, they just joined the university. It's amazing how they think differently. So, but I think if the universities, engineering colleges, if they start allowing this conversation, I'm sure sustainability thinking or lens will also be used in how we teach and engage the students. And I think this ought to happen in addition to broader context, which we've been doing in terms of ethics and professionalism. They're already taking shape, but I think this dimension should go along with those other dimensions. Yeah.
Great, wonderful, fine, good,
Yeah.
very excellent. Final question and
Thank
answer,
you.
Franz.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. Shiram, you have just made my week, my day, my month, and it's just joy personally, besides intellectually, personally, for you to give such a thoughtful presentation. And we will really share it globally with our community. We had a certain number, of course, of participants here, but we will proactively share and encourage people to listen to this. Let me just make a couple of final comments and really thanking Krishna for facilitating this, is that for the audience to know is that you were the key, obviously with several of us, intellectual force behind that led to the foundation of the Global Engineering Deans Council. You were there together with our brother Xavier Fouget, who hosted in Paris in 2008. I just want all of us to be very, very much aware of that historical, the fact that you're with us, that's Xavier, and an important leader of the GDC, Sal Rayala, who is also joining with us, who became the chair a few years after that. And of course, there's Krishna, and there's Ramiro, and there may be others I'm not aware, who were IFE's presidents, you see. So us as a global community working together, and you always, not only on an intellectual but personal way, contribute to the thoughtfulness as we have come together, now of course virtually, but hopefully in person very soon. And this leads me to my comment, Madrid. We're working very closely with dear friends and serious colleagues in Madrid, and I would like to find and plant the seeds for us to be there in person. Yes, it's hybrid, it's virtual, that's hopefully in person per se, so that we can join that. And the issue, something I did not know, is that there is a of loneliness in Japan that opened up a whole new sort of perspective, and the issue of mental health in the engineering profession. We started that last year, and we want to build on that, and I want to explore creatively a way for you to join that discussion as we gather together in Madrid. Siram, I'm just really joyful to see you, and thank you for your thoughtfulness, and greetings and peace and good health to all of our friends here today. Take good care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody be happy, be safe, be healthy, and thank you, Siram.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye, my friend.